Sometimes we don't give ourselves the permission to actually move on from maybe some people which are no longer serving us anymore. And the thing is, when you're stepping into a new version of yourself, that means you have new standards of things, you have a new vision, you have a new way of looking at things. And so sometimes people can't come along with us into the next stage of our life. There's going to be so many people that come and go. I've literally had this so much in my life already because I used to be in hospital for years, and so I was just used to people coming and going all the time. I'd make friends with people and then I'd leave or they'd leave, and so we'd never really see each other again. I remember a point of when I left hospital and I started to really focus on getting better. Everyone that I was around at that time was suffering with mental health issues because I'd just come out of hospital, so I had no friends on the outside because I'd been in hospital for 4 years. And there came a point after around a year or so where I was really working on myself, and so I started to notice that I didn't have anything in common with the people I was hanging around with anymore. And we'd meet up, but the only thing that I felt we had in common was the fact that we both used to have mental health difficulties. And it came to a point where I just felt like I was outgrowing that space. I was outgrowing the people around me. It didn't feel right to stay there. It didn't feel right to keep meeting those people for me because I was ready to outgrow that space. And this doesn't mean anything bad about them, and it doesn't mean anything bad about you. It's just life. And a lot of times we can resist this. I see so many people staying friends with people that they don't want to be friends with. They're friends with people and then they complain about them all the time, how they don't want to see them. And in my eyes, there's just no point doing that to yourself. There's no point wasting your breath like that. Don't you want to be enjoying your time, doing the things that you enjoy? Common signs that we are outgrowing these people is that we don't feel like we have anything in common anymore. We start to maybe dread seeing them. We start to feel not energized when we leave them. We start to feel quite low energy. We start to feel quite drained. And these are all common signs that you are maybe not around the right people. And this week I've just really noticed that I feel again like I'm in a different place now where I'm just ready to kind of up my standards again, because as you continue to work on yourself and as you continue to better yourself, your standards have to become higher, right? And I just feel ready to again outgrow where I'm currently at. So for example, a lot of people around me spend their weekends drinking and going out to clubs and stuff like this. And for me, I just don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, I enjoy it from time to time, but I have just so many things that I want to concentrate on. When I meet people and I be friends with them, I just don't want to spend all my time doing that. I don't want to be wasting my weekends not able to enjoy the next day because I'm hungover. I want to be working on my goals. I want to be working towards my future. It's really uncomfortable to go through a change and go through a new version of yourself, because also sometimes people won't get it. And that is one of the most important parts of outgrowing people, is that you have to accept and you have to come to terms with the fact that some people are not going to get it and some people are going to misunderstand you, and you have to be okay with being misunderstood. You might look really boring in some people's eyes. You might look really cringe in some people's eyes. And that's okay, because those people are not for you anymore. And the right people, the people who are meant for you, will be the uplifting people, the people who are into the same things as you, the people who are just as passionate and ambitious as you. Part of outgrowing people and part of moving into a new version of ourselves is that we have to be okay with being seen in a different light by other people. Because also it's really hard for the people that you've been around with. If you're trying to grow into a new version of yourself, they have this version of you in their heads. And so when you're trying to outgrow this version, it's very hard for them to let this version of who you are in their heads. It's very hard for them to let that go. And so sometimes they might judge you, they might criticize you, they might say comments to bring you down. And often this is actually an insecurity of theirs, because they can see that you're changing, and so they're scared that maybe at some point you won't need them anymore. And the thing is, you just have to realize that the right people who support you for you will be able to grow with you. And that's the thing, right? If someone is meant for you, they won't feel the need to bring you down. They won't feel the need to bring you back, because they will grow with you. And some people can't grow with us. Some people we can't take into the next season of our life. What served us in the past and what's no longer serving us now, sometimes that for other people, they're not ready for that. They're still in this past of what is serving them, and they're not ready to move on, but you are. And so it means that sometimes, yes, we are gonna outgrow people. Two things can exist at once, right? You can have love for a person, but also not want to be around them. It doesn't have to be so black and white. It doesn't have to be you don't like this person. It doesn't have to be that you wish them bad. They might be your best friend that you've been best friends with for years, since like a child. They might be your family member. But if you don't feel good around them and you feel like this isn't the people you should be around, you don't owe anyone anything. You should do what feels right to you, what feels good to you. And so you can wish them well and also choose to walk away. Give yourself permission to move on. You are not a bad person. You haven't done anything wrong. My mom always says to me, friends can be for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it really is like that, you know. Sometimes people come into our lives and they serve us for a particular purpose in that period of our life, and then maybe it's best to not be friends anymore. And that doesn't mean that there has to be hate there. It doesn't mean that the time you spent together was a waste. It doesn't mean that the time you spent together was bad. It just means that what served you in that period is no longer serving you now. Like, for example, I've definitely had points in my life where I've been such good friends with people and we've really helped each other through lots of hard times. But then now, maybe I've never spoken to them again. Maybe I'm not friends with them again. But you can still look back and be thankful for those times. Be thankful for what you learned from them. And so you can still be grateful and still look back at those times, but still also recognize that you're at a different point in your life right now, and also give yourself that permission to move on if that is what feels right to you. Another thing that's important to note is that your growth might trigger some people. When you're trying to better yourself, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people get triggered by that because you often reflect back to them what they are not. A lot of people will say comments. A lot of people will try and bring you down. And this might happen with your friends. And it's often because they're insecure because they're not that person. So then they project on other people because they are insecure themselves. And so that's just really important to note, because maybe you've noticed that as you're outgrowing yourself, the way people are reacting to you has changed. Maybe people are saying comments. Maybe people are saying, oh look, they've turned weird now. Why are they doing that? Why are they meditating? Why are they doing that? And it's often because your growth is triggering them. And again, this is another sign that you are outgrowing these people. Because if people are bringing you down, if people are not understanding you, if people are not seeing you of where you are and they're not happy for you, that you're doing what makes you happy, then you have probably outgrown that space. The people who you're supposed to be around, the people who are going to make you feel good inside, they will see you. They will support you in what you do. They will just be happy that if you're happy doing what you're doing, they are happy for you. So that's just a really careful thing to note, because I notice it all the time. All the time there is people projecting their stuff, and just be careful to know that this isn't personal to you. This is, again, a reflection back at them. Even though sometimes outgrowing people and outgrowing friends doesn't feel that great, in one way it's actually showing you that you are on the right track. It means that all the work that you've been putting in to develop yourself is paying off, because you can no longer resonate with the people that you once could resonate with. Things that you once could resonate with, that no longer serves you anymore. And so even though this feels uncomfortable, and even though it might seem negative in some type of way, it's actually a very, very positive thing overall, because you are now stepping into a new version of yourself. You are now hiring the standards of your life, hiring the standards of the people around you, and that is such a positive thing. Such a positive thing. In order for us to attract the type of people that we want, the type of people that are doing the same things as we are doing, maybe going to the gym, working on yourself, and you want people around you who have goals. If you want to attract these type of people, it means that you have to fully step into that version of yourself in order for those people to also want to be around you. And so sometimes This stage of growth means letting go of the old and stepping into the new. And that's absolutely so natural and part of life. This topic has just really come up for me a lot in the past week. And I hope that can give you some kind of reminder to step into this new version of yourself, and that sometimes people can't come with us, and that is okay. If you've watched the whole of the video, thank you, I really appreciate it. There will be a video next week. Thank you.